Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe before telling our story.
The familiar and the frightening. A late night walks. I've always found a strange solace in late night walks. There's a stillness to the world after dark, a quiet that strips away all the day's noise and makes everything feel, for a precious moment, utterly simple. For over 40 decades, I've been a welder, shaping metal with fire and sweat. Now I live alone on this sprawling farm, just me and Bosley, my loyal dog. The house feels vast and empty, far too large for one man. But after Maria passed, I couldn't bring myself to downsize. Our kids grew up and moved on years ago, and ever since cancer stole her, it's just been the two of us. One evening, after a particularly grueling day in the shop, I needed to clear my head. A single circuit around my property usually does the trick. The air was crisp and cool, and Bosley trotted happily beside me, tail wagging. Sometimes I think that dog loves me more than I love myself. I've walked that loop hundreds of times, seen every shadow shift with the moon. But as I was heading back to the house, something snagged my attention. My gaze drifted up to the second-story window, the one that looked out from the bedroom Maria and I once shared. For a fraction of a second, I swore I saw movement. I stopped dead, my boots digging into the dirt, eyes fixed at that window. Nobody should be in there. I hadn't stepped foot in that room in years. The memories were too sharp, too painful. A cold fury began to simmer in my gut at the thought of some stranger violating our space. I wasn't about to stand for that. My heart hammered against my ribs as I practically burst through the front door, taking the stairs two at a time. The room was just as I'd left it, empty, not a single thing out of place. I scoured every corner, every shadow, but found nothing. Yeah, I was spooked all right, but mostly I was just plain mad. I don't take kindly to trespassers. I tried to tell myself it was just my eyes playing tricks, a phantom movement in the dim light. I stood there for a long moment, feeling like an old fool, but the nagging certainty that something had been there, that a presence had flickered in Maria's window, wouldn't leave me.
The very next night, Bosley's low growl pulled me from a restless sleep. He's a good dog, never barks unless there's a real reason. I sat up in bed, straining to listen. That's when I heard it, a distinct creaking, coming from upstairs. It could have been the old house settling, of course, but my mind instantly leaped to footsteps, heavy and deliberate, directly above me. You can probably guess which room I'm talking about. I hesitated, debating whether to go downstairs and grab my hunting rifle, but I didn't want to escalate things if it was just the wind. Still, I was a big man, and I felt I could handle whatever was up there, hand to hand if I had to. I snatched my flashlight from the nightstand and went to check again. Nothing. The room was untouched, just as empty as before. At this point, my anger was definitely curdling into a knot of anxiety. Something felt terribly wrong in my own home. The following night, I stumbled downstairs to find the kitchen lights blazing. I know I turned them off before bed. I'm meticulous about that. There was no denying it anymore. Someone was in my house. A cold dread seeped into my bones, and panic began to set in. I called the police, explained my suspicions. They arrived promptly, searched the house from top to bottom, but predictably found absolutely nothing. They were polite enough, told me to call if I needed them, but their dismissive glances told me all I needed to know. They didn't believe me. The night after that was by far the worst. Sleep was impossible, a distant dream. I found myself drawn upstairs again, compelled to check the bedroom. Maybe I thought it would bring some peace of mind, but when I pushed open the door, I froze. Clothes, Maria's clothes, scattered all over the floor. I had carefully packed them away after she died, folded them meticulously in boxes. Now they were everywhere, strewn about carelessly. This wasn't some random occurrence. And then I saw her. A woman, standing in the doorway, just staring at me. I couldn't quite make out her face in the gloom, but I knew instantly she wasn't Maria. She was too short. I had no idea who she was or what she wanted, but she didn't belong there. I'd never known such raw, paralyzing fear. Without thinking, pure instinct took over, and I charged her. She spun around, bolted down the stairs, and was out the front door in a flash. By the time I reached the porch, she was gone. I searched the property with Bosley, calling her name into the darkness, but there wasn't a trace. I didn't sleep a wink
months
that
after,
night.
sleep remained an elusive luxury. I was constantly on edge, convinced I heard footsteps upstairs every night. Every little creak, every shift of the old house sent me into a fresh wave of panic. My rifle became my nightly companion, lying beside my bed, a chilling reminder of the possibility I might have to use it. I debated calling my brother to come stay with me, but pride, or perhaps stubbornness, got the better of me. I was raised to handle my own problems, and that's what I aimed to do. But the nightmare didn't end. One night, sitting in the living room, I saw a figure standing in the yard, looking straight at me through the window. Her, again. My heart felt like it seized in my chest. I grabbed my hunting rifle and burst outside, Bosley right on my heels. She was still there, a dark silhouette against the moonlight, watching me. I fired a few warning shots into the air, hoping to scare her off. That was enough to make her turn and melt into the darkness, but it offered me no comfort. I was being tormented by some unknown woman, likely homeless, and I couldn't for the life of me understand why this was happening to me. I stood there for a long time, rifle held tight, waiting to see if she'd return. She never did. I haven't seen her since, but I know it's only a matter of time. I'm ready to defend myself, but living in this perpetual state of anxiety, this gnawing fear, isn't sustainable. Thank God for Bosley. I honestly don't know what I'd do without him. I'll send an update if anything else happens.